I probably should have done this video a long while back, but it's better late than never. This is I'm going to be talking about why I left the anti-furry fandom. And it's going to be split in between two sections. Why I first went into the anti-furry fandom and when and why I first entered the anti-furry fandom and why I left. Okay. The reason why I entered the anti-furry fandom was because I was immature. The way I was the first time I was introduced to the anti-furry fandom, it was through those anti-furry meme compilations where it was just like anti-furry like animation thing, and then it was like with some Doom guy edit or some other like Kratos or something. Personally, looking back, those were let's just say they didn't age well, and when I like entered the anti-furry like communities and stuff was the first time I ever talked to any other anti-furries was through Twitter, and it's Twitter. It was a bad. I was 11 years old. It's well, I was 11. Okay, I didn't know how bad Twitter had it yet. I got banned like 5 times for being an anti-furry. I was like following all these other anti-furry guys, and I started like my own little Amug Union groups. Like I worked with the Amug Union at the time, and they were kind of corny, but there's not really much to talk about like when I first started doing this anti-furry stuff. Like I was an anti-furry for like 5 years. I started like this, and then in like early 2025, like before 2025, I was just in the anti-furry fandom because I thought it was just something. Like I was in the politics, but I was kind of LARPing politics. I didn't really know what was going on, but I just cared enough about it to know the very fucking basics. But I was like a LARPing in politics until I stopped LARPing politics, okay? Then I was like, I felt like anti furries were being discriminated against because of them getting banned. Personally, I don't care anymore about anti furries getting banned. I thought it was some fucking 1984 shit. I do think the internet does discriminate based on political beliefs, but nothing for any like anti furry fucking bullshit. You could watch some of the old speeches, and I'm just gonna admit this. The second one and the third one was written by AI. I'm just gonna admit it. I used AI for the second and third ones. Partially. I used AI on the first one for grammar and for like the speech itself, because at first I didn't feel like I could post my voice online because I was still a squeaker. I felt like I still squeaked a lot and sounded like a child. So I used AI for that and put some voice filters over it. Then I made edits and stuff. I was in like a weird anarchist phase at some point, but it was at first it was called, like the Army of Red and Black. It was like it was in between when I was like a Christian nationalist and an atheist. It was like really confusing for a lot of people when I was an atheist. I like it, even though my symbol at the time included like a Greek cross and stuff, but it was kind of corny. I mainly keep up the edits and stuff. When it comes to like newer anti-furry content, if you're still like an anti-furry and you really liked the audio version of the anti-furry docs, I might still do that. When it comes to new anti-furry content, I still would like to do like an audio version of the anti-furry docs, not for any like anti-furry reason, but for I just find the anti-furry docs really interesting, and that's what really like made me politically anti-furry, if that's even a thing. And I still find that thing very interesting and very like helpful because there's in like when it comes to historically, I don't think there's any other forum or like book you could say that would even come close to confirming to talk about all to the number of topics that the anti-furry docs brings up. If you want to talk about anti-fur mysteries and incidents in the furry fandom, go to the anti-furry docs. I'd still recommend the anti-furry docs because that shit still holds up. That shit still holds up when it comes to just information alone. It still holds up. It is probably one of the only pieces of anti-furry media that's held up over time. And I think that's pretty much it for why I became an anti-furry, because I'm just starting to rant. So, why I left the anti-furry fandom. It was when I was like an atheist for a short time, when I really realized that the anti-furry shit was kind of bullshit. It was kind of corny. I was kind of wasting my time with it, you know? I felt like, should I really just keep this going? It's never really changed. Nothing ever happens. Put up the fuck ass image. Nothing ever happens. And it was kind of boring. I didn't feel like stupid flag it away. I It was kind of just stupid to me. I was growing up. I'm 15 now. I'm starting to get to the age where I can drive. I can, well, not yet, but still I can get my permit. But I'm getting up to the age where I'm starting to have I would start having to prepare for adult things. I felt like I need to mature. I need to mature as a person and just stop bullshitting all this. It was fun while it lasted. If I could have the choice again, if I was put back in time, I'd do it again for the thrill. It was kind of fun. And the real reason why I left was because I just didn't feel like it anymore. I just had to grow up. I had to grow out of it. It was it was a fun experience. I still know some anti furries, for better or for worse. And when it comes to the Army of Red and Black server, it's just filled with like Nazis. I was still in like that anarchist phase to the point where I just let Nazis in. I didn't. I do. I just didn't do anything about it since I thought, I don't know, it was stupid. It was a stupid part of my life. I'm sorry for all the people that I've offended. I've done some pretty stupid shit when I was an anti-furry. When it comes to the furry side, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry for the bullshit. Y'all were way ahead of my time. You just tried to tell me shit that I would later figure out in 4 or 5 years. And if you're a furry watching this, having to deal with anti-furry bullshit, just wait. Just wait 4 or 5 years, they'd stop. I feel like at some point, the anti-furry fandom's just gonna fizzle out. It mainly already has. I don't really see any anti-furries on my page anymore. And when I became a spawnist, and I think the real nail in the coffin is when I became a spawnist. when I tried talking to my anti-furry friends about me being a spawnist, they didn't really like that. And that's when I truly, like, I was already like not an anti-furry. That was like the nail in the coffin. Was the time I like left the anti-furry fandom, because that's when I 100% knew that it was corny and it was overdone. Man, personally, I had a fun time. It was pretty nice. The anti-furry fandom was fun. I think this is a new and better era to be a person. I think me right now would is pretty good. I make good content. I'm a good commentary person. Even when I was an anti-furry, I always wanted to do commentary, but at the time I didn't have the voice to. I didn't really like my voice at the time, and personally, I still think my voice is still kind of stupid and that I have like One Piece pacing. My older brother calls it One Piece pacing from like One Piece, and I don't like One Piece because of the pacing. So yeah, it's been a good time. And goodbye. Next time I'll do a video on why I became a spawnist and how I became a spawnist. You know what? I'll just do it right now. Screw it. The reason why I became a spawnist is because it's just a really short answer that I could put in a TikTok, but I just I felt a spiritual connection to the spawn that I've never really felt with Christianity. I was a Christian nationalist for around 4 or 5 years, and I never really felt anything with Jesus Christ. I never felt the things that a lot of people say they felt with Jesus. That I felt like I wasn't connected enough, and that's why I even became a Christian nationalist. I feel like I wasn't connected enough. That's why I became a Christian nationalist for the longest time. Even like kind of like with it was kind of like with the anti-furry stuff at the time, kind of went along with it. But when I stopped being a Christian, the anti-furry stuff went down with it. And the spawn, it brought me to new people, new and better people that weren't Nazis, that weren't heavily discriminatory, and I actually felt connections with them. Felt like when it came to Christian nationalists, when I talked to them, I didn't really feel much connection towards them. I didn't really feel a connection towards the Christian religion. I felt like I was in the wrong. But when I talked to these spawnists, I was reassured. I was better. I felt better. I, I felt like I belonged there. I belonged with the spawnists. I belong with the spawn itself. That's more beautiful than any other thing on earth. So, goodbye. Have a great time. See you.